This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. Christy Wright, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, is my co-host today as we take your questions about your life and your money. It's a free call at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Stephen in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, starts off this hour. Hey, Stephen, what's up?
Hey, David. How are you doing?
Better than I deserve, sir. How can we help?
Thank you. I am 21 years old, and I have about $20,000 in cash that I saved up. I'm going to be going off to college in the fall, and I'm planning on buying real estate, about a 3-bedroom home that I can rent out the rooms and help me pay my mortgage so I don't have to pay rent when I go up to college. I also have about a $4,000 car loan that I have yet to pay off, and my uncle has been advising me to buy a house, but my mom is kind of like hesitant about me doing it. So I'd just like to get your advice.
Well, I love real estate, and I love your the fact that you're putting some thought into this. I like all of that. I think it's good on your part. Where'd you get $20,000 at 21 years old? Way to go!
I was a general manager for a QSR restaurant, making pizzas. Mm-hmm. And I did that for about a year, and I was fortunate enough to save up good money while I was living with my mom, and I still am actually right now.
Okay, so where are you going to college?
I'm going to Orlando at UCF.
Good for you. It's a great school.
I went there for a year and a half. That's awesome.
It's the largest school in America right now, and it's a great school. We've done events there on campus and gotten to know a lot of their administration. It's a solid choice. Okay. Well, while I love real estate, I would advise you against your plan. I'm not sure I can talk you out of it, but here is the downsides of your plan. You are trying to go to school and learn and graduate. The distraction of running a business, dealing with freaking roommates, could really be devastating. It sounds like it sounds like a hot knife through butter, and it's not. You're going to deal with so much freaking drama over this 4 years with roommates and collecting rent and whose ketchup that is in the refrigerator and all this other BS that you're going to get distracted from your studies. And you're all worried about real estate instead of being worried about getting your degree. You have one freaking job for the next 4 years, and that's graduate on time with your degree, with no debt. And I would use the $20,000 towards that end, and I would be a renter, and I would have very little going on in my life except going to school and graduating on time or early.
This is such a transitional time in your life too, Stephen. While that seems like a great idea right now, and like Dave said, I don't think it's a bad idea in general. I think it's just a bad idea right now because you have no idea what the next 3 years holds. You have no idea what type of expenses you're going to have. You need to pay off that debt with some of the money that you have. Mm-hmm. Keep saving up, cash flow your way through college. And then when you're out of college, you know you want to put down roots there. You know where you want to be, all that good stuff. You have your degree behind you, some more money in the bank. 3 to 6 months of expenses, you're debt free, then save up and put that money down on a house. I'll give you an example, Dave. I went to UCF for a year and a half and I loved it, but I realized after living there a year and a half, I didn't want to put down roots there. I didn't want to get married, get a job, live there forever. I wanted to go back to Tennessee. And so I decided to transfer to UT Knoxville to get in-state tuition to save my mom the money since I wasn't going to live there forever. But when I went as a freshman, I didn't know that. And you just don't know a lot at 18. You think you know, but you're going to learn a lot about yourself, your dreams, your plans in the next 4 years. And so save that money before you make any long-term commitments like that, especially with the cash that you have. And then after college, make some of those decisions.
So I'll even one up that. I went to school to get a degree in finance and real estate. I was selling real estate for a living while I was in school. I love real estate. I almost bought a home in Maryville, Tennessee, outside of Knoxville. I was going to the University of Tennessee, a little cheap butt, little nothing house, because I wanted to be a real estate investor like you do. And if I had done that when Sharon and I got married and decided to move across the state after graduation, we would have been stuck with this stinky butt little house in Maryville, Tennessee. And it would have been an anchor to our plans instead of a blessing.
Yeah.
And that's what Christy's referring to with this level of transition in your life. So it's a good idea at the wrong time, which makes it a bad idea. For all of those reasons, please don't do it. Please take $4,000 and pay off your car today, bank the rest of it, and invest in the highest possible investment on the planet. His name is Matt. Invest in yourself, making sure you graduate debt-free.
Steven. Yep. His name is Steven.
You can invest in Matt, too, but you're Steven.
Matt or Steven, but want to make sure Steven knows we're talking to you. Steven's like, who's Matt? I missed that.
Well, it's the next call that's up, and that's how it shows how bad this show really is.
I want Steven to make sure he knew we were talking to him.
Thank you, yeah. Oh, that was bad. Okay. I don't know how you recover from that one.
We go to Matt. That's how we recover. Matt's next.
Hey, Matt. Steven's going to be investing in you. I hope you like that. What's up, man?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
So what's up? How can we help?
So I just have a general question related to budgeting. I always have an argument with my wife exactly how much we're able to spend on, things to enjoy our lives, like vacations and I like to golf and I like to, I'm more of a spender, like going out to eat, things like that. So we're pretty well off.
Are you out of debt?
No debt. Yeah.
Okay. And you have an emergency fund?
Yeah, we have.
And what's your household income?
Maybe about like $220 to $230.
And what are you wanting to budget for entertainment and golf, and what is she saying she wants to?
So I guess it kind of varies. Obviously, I don't golf in the.
Okay, there's your problem. You're making this crap up as you go. You're not agreeing to anything, and she sees this as an infinite, bottomless pit.
You just want to spend what you want when you want to, right?
Yeah.
Basically,
you can't be a child. You have to put it on paper. I don't care what the amount is, but you got to put it on paper. The fact that you're not willing to put a number down and stick to it, that's what's scaring her. It's not the number. It's scaring me, too, by the way. Steven, too, because he's investing in you.
Yeah, again, I'm not irrational about it, but I guess you're right.
Yeah, you are, because you're not willing to put a limit on it. You're not in Congress. You have to put a limit on it.
You feel like a budget is restrictive? Yes or no?
A little bit, considering that, again, I don't, the way I feel I spend my money, I don't overdo it, but I guess Dave's right, I don't really.
All you got to do is put a number on it. I don't care.
You
might be surprised that what she would agree to in terms of the number if you put a number to it, and you agree that there is a point at which you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, no, enough already this month. We're limiting this. I don't care what the number is. I really don't, as long as you're not going into debt to do it. But you can't just be going, I'll just be okay, no, you have to have a number. Then we're both in agreement. You'll be fine. That's all you got to do to fix this. It's not how much you're spending. It's the fact that you're not willing to put any limit on it at all. This is The Ramsey Show. Hey folks, I got a great option to help you pay for your education. The Army National Guard. The Army National Guard believes you are the next greatest generation because you have proven that even in adversity, that you have what it takes to succeed. That's why they offer benefits like tuition assistance, career training, and a paycheck to help you avoid debt. No matter what your goals are, the Army National Guard can help you get there. Visit nationalguard.com to find out more. personality is my co-host today here on the air. Open phones at 888-825-5225. You jump in. We'll talk about your life and your money. Miles is with us. Miles is in Wichita, Kansas. Hey, Miles, how can we help?
Hi, Mr. Ramsey. It's an honor and pleasure to speak with you today.
You too. What's up?
Well, I would like some advice from you on some purchase opportunities that I've got to buy a home. And with some aspects to my life, I'm wondering if I should pay cash for it or if I should try and get a mortgage or get a loan. I've pretty much got the cash to pay for it, but as a Christian, I'm wondering if I should, because I've got the chance to do that, if I should go ahead and do it, or because of the convenience, if I should just go ahead and get a mortgage on it. I'm the biggest stickler to my life aspect is I'm 20 years old, and I'm going to school part-time. I work full-time with my dad, and I've got 2 or 3 businesses besides that. And I'm wondering, is freeing up some of the cash for capital for what I do smart, or should I try and to keep it available for my businesses, or should I just put all of that capital into that house and keep it there and then just slowly
How much money do you have saved?
Right around $100,000.
And you're 20 years old?
Yes, sir.
How'd you do that?
Worked hard. I've been extremely blessed. My parents are very wise in raising me in a way to be debt-free, work hard. I took your Ramsey course through high school, and just as a general attitude to life, knowing everything is God's and knowing everything that I've got is not mine, and just managing it, as well as just keeping my expenses low and saving where I can.
You're amazing.
That's incredible.
So what kind of income are you earning a year between all these things you're doing?
So I don't specifically have a lot of income. Like I said, I work with my dad full time. My first real heavy year of work and income that I got from him was pretty much just last year and a half. I took home about $30,000. And then probably between all the other stuff I do, it's around $10,000.
So where did 100 come from again?
Just pretty much
that
saving.
Doesn't get to 100.
Pretty much just saving. I mean, ever since I've been young. I mow lawns. I've been doing that since I was 12 or 13. Like I said, just being very blessed, and just I don't spend a lot of money.
Do you live with your mom and dad still?
Yes, I do. And that's another aspect of it. As I'm 20 years old, I'm going to school part-time as well. So I'm looking to buy this house as a rental, and then when I graduate in a couple of years, try and move into it as my own house.
No, I would not buy a house.
You think that's the wise place to be?
I think the wise thing to do is for you to finish school. Before you worry, I would not get in the rental business. This is the don't get in the rental business while you're in college theme hour.
Yeah, it is. We didn't know it was, but it is.
Yeah, I wouldn't put you in the rental business while you're making $30,000 a year and trying to go through school. I don't mind you getting there, and you are an overachiever. You're an incredible young man, but let's not get confused about what got us here. It wasn't real estate. I love real estate, and I want you to own some real estate someday. I thought you were buying this house to move into, so that might have changed the answer, but I don't think it does. I think you're going to continue to pile up money, and you go ahead and get in school and get your butt in gear and get finished. And when you graduate and you leave home and you start your own life and you have a pile of cash, pay cash for your first home that you're going to live in, then start talking about buying rental property that you pay cash for. But I wouldn't get this out of order. I wouldn't get it backwards.
It's so tempting, too, I'm sure, Miles, because you have this pile of cash. You have $100,000, so you can rationalize in your head, well, I have this money, so I should buy a house. You're living at home. You're fine. Finish out school. Just because you have the money doesn't mean you have to spend it. Just like we were saying earlier, you're in a transitional time in your life. What you need today is not necessarily what you'll need or want in a year or 3 years. Finish out school and then make a decision about your housing situation and your money.
Yeah. So, with rare exceptions, if you never buy a piece of real estate before you're 25 years old, it's not the end of the world, including your home.
Yeah.
I mean, you can just move out and rent a little apartment and get your life started.
Yeah.
This idea that you have to move out into a furnished home with a skylight and a jacuzzi at 24 years old or 23 years old is just, guys, it's not talking down to you because you're young. All I'm saying is just have a little freaking patience.
Well, and one of the things I heard the most out of college, Dave, and I've heard it a million times, is you're throwing money away on rent. You're throwing money away on rent. You hear it again and again. And that is an oversimplified statement on the situation. What you're buying is time, peace of mind. Someone else is dealing with all the maintenance of the home. There's so much more that goes into home ownership than just the purchase price of the house. And I think a lot of young people don't consider that. They don't think about a new AC unit, or you need a new roof, or something goes wrong, and all the headache that goes with it, whether you're living in it or not, that you may not want to take on.
Being a renter for 15 or 20 years is a bad idea. Being a renter for 36 months, while you're going through some transitional periods in your life, like leaving home for the first time, those kinds of things, is not dumb at all.
Yeah.
It's not dumb at all. Renters don't go to hell. It's not a salvation issue. Okay? I mean, you're not like done something completely stupid where you've ruined your whole life because you're a renter for a little while.
Yeah.
I've rented, and I own a bunch of real estate, and I believe in real estate, and I want you to get some real estate. But real estate purchases as an investment is very unwise and will set you back in your whole wealth building process. It will set you back, not push you forward, if you do it before you've done some of these other things. And so it is a late in the game, late in the baby steps idea that you invest in real estate. Because otherwise real estate will kick you in the teeth and will move you backwards in your wealth building. And so, no, you don't need to buy a rental house when you don't have a house that's paid for that you live in. No, you don't need to buy a rental house until you have graduated from college. No, you don't need to buy a rental house until you can pay cash for it. No, you don't need to buy a rental house until you're out of debt, own a home, have an emergency fund in place, and have paid off your home. No, you don't need to buy a rental house before you're 25 unless you're in a very, very unusual situation. Now, this young man here is pretty incredible. He's done some really cool stuff. Yeah. But here's the thing, dude. You buy a house right now with all that money and you're not making but 30 grand, you don't have any money. You gave up all your money. Because I thought you were going to tell me in this business you're making $100,000 a year or something. I didn't know where this money, but this has been from 12 years old.
You've
been saving
every
your
penny.
Yard cutting money, and that's how you got here. So you're a tremendous saver. You are not yet a tremendous earner. You will be, I think, just listening to you. I think you're incredible. I think you're going to be a big place when you're making 60 or 80,000 or 180,000. It makes this equation completely different, and that's where you're going to be when you graduate with your 4-year degree and you have your full-on career and you're doing stuff because you're a dude that gets stuff done.
Yeah.
But it's okay. Just breathe. Just breathe. You're not gonna die. You're not stupid. You're not throwing money away to rent for 36 months. From your 22nd birthday to your 25th birthday. It's just not the end of the freaking world. And that includes those of you getting married and she wants to buy a house or he wants to buy a house. I don't give a crap. You're broke. When broke people buy houses, you get broker. And that's why they call them real estate brokers. That's where that comes from. So, and I've done that and lots of people have done that.
Yep.
And we've seen the strain and the coaching over the years. You and I have both seen it over and over and over again.
Yep.
This is The Ramsey Show. Everybody of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage. Michael and Angela are with us. Hey, guys, how are you?
Good.
Great.
Awesome to have you. So, here to do a debt-free scream. Where do you live?
Faribault, Minnesota, just south of the Twin Cities, about an hour.
Okay, very cool. Good. Good for you guys. Well, welcome. How much debt did you pay off?
$313,285.06.
Love
Woo.
it. How long did this take?
About 40 months.
Whoa. And your range of income during that time?
We started at 90,000 all the way up to 230.
Good for you. What do you guys do for a living?
I'm an optometrist.
And I do agricultural research.
Very good. So what kind of debt was this $313,000?
Well, we had $300 in a bed, $30,000 between two vehicles, and the rest was Sally Mae.
Lots of Sally Mae. Sally Mae did a number on y'all.
Yeah.
A big one.
Wow. So tell us the story. What happened?
It was a few months after our first daughter was born. We were sitting there and we were talking about, retirement and paying off these loans early and saving for college for our daughter. And I said to Michael, this is overwhelming. We can't do it all. And
We were going 10 different directions, everywhere. There wasn't a plan.
And then I remember my best friend in college, her dad had mentioned a book, The Total Money Makeover.
Yeah.
And so I called her and said, what's this book? We read it. I was on board right away. Michael?
I thought there were a lot of great ideas in the book, and that we could use some of these principles, and it might really help us. And then we had our first budget meeting, and there was some things going on with the job, and we wrote everything down, and we realized there's a lot of debt. That was the first time we put all the debt on paper, and it was terrifying. Terrifying. Basically, we realized we were coming up $800 short every month just on debt. That wasn't even.
Whoa.
That wasn't even
Groceries or gas.
Groceries or gas.
Whoa. What'd you do? How'd you get that fixed?
We moved.
Yep.
Sold your house.
Well, we moved down. So we found a new job opportunity.
Oh,
So
okay.
basically, Angie was able to get a job where she was making the same where we both were, and we went. And then I was able to find a job, and then from there, Angie was able to pick up more jobs, extra jobs. Game on.
Yep.
Wow. So that's what kicked this income. You tripled almost your income.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
We, at one point, I think we were, I don't think I had a day off in.
A couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was every day. But
Yep.
that's when the snowball really rocked.
Yeah. Yeah. The problem is you work all the time. The good news is you make a lot of money.
You're darn right.
You can clean up a mess pretty quick if you get bigger shovels.
Yep.
And then you don't have to do it forever. It's just a part-time thing. It's a temporary process to work like that. But you were working like maniacs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can only tweak the budget so much. We were able to get everything out of the budget we could. At that point, you got to up the income.
Yeah.
Did you sell the cars or keep them?
We kept them.
Okay, worked your way through it.
Yep.
Good. Very cool. So this really came down to moving to a different city and changing your income potential and then stepping into that potential.
Yep.
Okay. 2.5 long years.
3.5.
Yep.
3.5. Oh, no.
We wish.
I added it up. Oh, my God. He's like, this guy can't do math. That whole dividing by 12 thing's a problem. But yeah. Oh, my gosh. That's incredible.
So I'm curious because I know a lot of people are scared of that moment you just described when you wrote it all down. They don't want to face it because it is scary, right? Like I think you said it was terrifying when you first faced it.
We were blissfully unaware. We had no
Right.
idea.
Right. How many people are
Blissfully unaware. That is a great phrase.
How many people are listening right now that are blissfully unaware and they're scared to face it? What would you say to them on this side now, having faced it, been terrified, busted your behinds to get out of it, and now you're debt free? Speak to that person that doesn't want to write it down, that doesn't want to face it.
You can do it.
You can do it.
You can do it. We had a goal chart from 0 up to our $300,000 debt load, and it seems overwhelming, but you can do it. You can.
I mean, when we found this plan, we were like, this is the greatest thing. Everyone needs to do this. Why isn't everyone doing this? And then we try to explain to people, and they're just like, oh, you know, that we can't do that, or you know, it works for you. You know, you guys make a lot of money, and I mean, that's why we wanted to come here. We're like, you can do it.
Yeah.
We can do it. You can do it.
You can do it. Go to work.
Go to work.
A great place to go when you're broke. To
That-
work.
amen.
Yeah. Well,
That quote went in my head almost every
because
Saturday,
you're
Sunday.
working like
Literally.
a maniacs.
Yeah.
This is impressive. Very impressive. So, how old are you?
I'm 34.
32.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you paid off $313,000 in 40 months, and you're done. How's it feel?
Liberating. Just we're free.
We're free.
We can. It's different going to work that first day after I paid it off. It's, you know, I'm going to work because I want to.
Yep.
It's totally changed the way I am at work, and it's awesome.
Yep. Me too.
You get your hours back to a normal grind now, Angela?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Not a Saturday or Sunday ever again.
Yeah.
Never again.
If you work like no one else later, you can work like no one else. If
Yep.
you live like no one else later, you can live and give like no one else.
That's right.
You guys are incredible. So it was worth it.
Absolutely.
100%.
What do you tell people the key to getting out of debt is?
I would say the biggest thing, getting on board with each other, writing everything down. That was huge for us. The budget. I mean, every month we were going through that. And the biggest thing for us, I would say, is you have to stay motivated. 3.5 years is a long time.
Yes,
is
it
a
is.
very long time. And we had, like I said, our big goal chart. And every 10%, Michael and I, we would go out on a date night. And then every month when we paid off things, we would have a dream meeting. And we'd say, why are we doing this?
Wow.
You know, what are our future goals? And basically, that was our motivation.
Yeah.
You know, you'd fill in the chart, and it's like, okay, that's another 2%. You know, here we go.
You can see the progress.
And that was probably, I mean, one of the hardest things is because when you have that much debt, you know, 1% is $3,000.
Yeah.
That's a lot
that
of
was
money.
Serious money, yeah.
And yeah, those I would say are the biggest things.
Yeah. That's powerful.
Yeah, I love that you guys did that. I love that you celebrated those mile markers because most people getting out of debt is a marathon. Y'all's really was a marathon. I mean, 3.5 years is a long time. That's a lot of money. But to see that progress and celebrate that progress, it probably motivated you. Okay, let's get the next 30,000. Let's get the next 10%, whatever that was, and you stuck with it because of that. Well done.
And it was tough too because we had consolidated all the loans, so it was one payment. It was we weren't knocking little loans off as we went. So that motivation was key.
Yeah, yeah.
Very cool, you guys. Well done, well done, well done. Very proud of you. Very proud of you. We got a copy of Rachel Cruz's latest New York Times bestseller, Know Yourself, Know Your Money, as a gift. We appreciate you coming all the way down from Minnesota to do your debt-free scream and share your story. It's inspiring what you've done. You're rock stars. Very, very well done. You're free! You did it!
Free, yes.
Michael and Angela from Minnesota, $313,000 paid off in 40 months, making 90 to 230. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. We're debt free!
Well
Oh,
done,
so
you
awesome.
guys. Very well done.
That's awesome.
This is The Ramsey Show. right, Ramsey Personality is my co-host today. Our famous $10 sale is back, which means you can get her #1 best-selling book, Business Boutique, for $10. You can get the Total Money Makeover, the Proximity Principle, and most of our best-selling books are on sale for $10 each. About a 60% saving on over 40 best-selling books. Pretty cool. Go to RamseySolutions.com/store. RamseySolutions.com/store. Check out the $10 sale, and there's more. We've got a gift for you. You can enter to win our Ramsey Cash giveaway. We're giving away $500 cash every week, starting this week, plus a grand prize of $5,000 cash. You can enter daily for extra chances to win. No purchase necessary. Got to be 18 or older to win. Text the word cash to 33789, and you can enter now. Text cash to 33789. Again, that $10 sale is all going on at RamseySolutions.com/store. Ken is in Los Angeles. Hi, Ken. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. How can we help?
Well, I'm a bit nervous. I'll just do my best to ask the question and hopefully get some good life and financial advice from you.
Okay.
I've been working for myself for almost 20 years in the financial services industry. My income over the last few years has done real well, except for the last maybe year or so. It's been declining, in part because of the company I work for and represent is not doing super great. So I've been working really hard to pay off the house early. We're not in any debt whatsoever, other than our mortgage, and we're at a crossroads, my wife and I and our family, as to whether we should potentially leave Los Angeles, leave California, and move out of state to an area that's obviously less expensive to accelerate my financial goals and my wife's financial goals, I guess, as well. Even though we're not always on the same page, but or just to stick it out here and essentially use the money that I've saved to pay the house off. That we're almost right there to pay the house off, and instead of paying the house off, use the money to try and stimulate some income in other ways, entrepreneurial ways or something.
How much money you got saved?
About $320,000.
Way to go. Okay. So the only reason I use the phrase in my life, stick it out, is there has to be a prize on the other side of sticking it out. What's the prize on the other side of sticking it out in Los Angeles? It sounds like you're just going to endure to the end of your life and then you die.
It's a good question. If we were sitting down with my wife and you, we would both admit to ourselves that more than likely California is not our future, even though this is where we grew up. This is our home. Obviously, the list is really long as to the reasons why to leave. You occasionally allude to them on your program, but no. Our kids our oldest is in high school, and we do really enjoy the area that we're in. He's got a good set of friends, which is really important, I think. Good social support group. So, as far as sticking it out, what I mean by that is for the next few years or so, while our oldest get through high school, and then more than likely we would be probably exiting.
Okay. All right. And so your oldest is what year in high school?
He's a sophomore.
Okay. So you either leave now or you leave in 2 years?
More like 4 to 5.
Why?
We got a middle schooler.
Oh, you're going to run all of them out.
That's about to get through about to go into high school. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious about something you said a second ago. You said my financial goals, and I guess my wife's financial goals, but you said it separately. Like y'all aren't on the same page. What are some of these conversations about?
So complicated, but it's we're not 100% on the. I've been listening to Dave your show for years, ever since I decided I need to make some lifestyle changes. My wife, generally speaking, is very supportive of things we do. We have a great marriage. However, at the same time, she looks at our situation as like, very unique, meaning, able to pay a house off, an expensive house in Los Angeles in the early 40s, very blessed. And, she misses, and I do want to support her. I mean, we've sacrificed a lot, seeing friends take vacations.
Yeah.
We're not, our kids are getting older, and it's getting a little bit challenging for her to continue to, I would say, live house poor to some degree.
I think that you guys have been on a financial planner's tightwad budget, and she's over it.
Yeah. Yeah, you could say that.
Okay.
And I am too, to be honest. I mean,
I know,
I
but here's the thing. Here's the thing. The offset of the kids being moved is that your quality of life on a daily basis and an annual basis is going to increase considerably.
Yes.
In other words, the kids are going to go on vacation. The kids are not going to be seeing mom and dad particularly, who's pretty much miserable there. And all through my high school years, all I remember was my dad was miserable.
Yeah.
I'm out of there, dude.
Yeah.
Just based on what you're telling me. And I think the impact, and I would move tomorrow. I think the impact on your kid, resetting some friends, kids do it all the time. I mean, there's lots of people who move with a kid in high school, and they survive. Yeah. And, is it ideal? No, it's not ideal. But is there a good set of friends with the proper value systems that you get plugged into in a city that is where you can explore your career options? Your wife can be allowed to go on vacation. You guys have got a little wiggle room in your budget to go out and do some things that you've not been doing lifestyle-wise, and you pay cash for a house with $300,000 when you make the move and you start a new career. It's a new adventure for everyone, and everyone's getting an upgrade in this model, except the kid is getting a bit of a down. But overall, the kid's getting an upgrade.
Yeah, and they may not understand at first. They probably won't, but you're their parent. You get to make the decisions for what's best for the family. And if this is what you and your wife decide is best for your family, for all of these reasons.
If you're putting their life at risk or something, be different.
Yeah.
You're just changing high schools.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, I'm old.
You are.
It's not.
Get over it.
You'll be all right. You're going to make it.
They will. And when they're on the other side of it, they will get to experience that. They just can't see past Friday night right now. They're teenagers. That's how teenagers think and act. They'll be glad on the other side of it. And
but there'll be some
too.
whining and gnashing of teeth.
There will. There will.
You know that'll be there. But but I'm telling you, I think the quality of your family unit, I think Dr. John Deloney would tell us that the vibe in your house, your kids pick up on the vibe.
Yeah, it'll be overall worth it.
They pick up on the stress that's in the air. They pick up on the disappointment that's in the air, the gritted teeth, I'm going to stick it out that's in the air.
That's right.
And so I wouldn't stick it out.
Yeah.
It's done. You and your wife are both done, but for different reasons. The only thing holding you there is a sophomore in high school. Sophomore in high school gets to go along on this adventure. That's the way it is at the Ramseys. We're going to explain it to them.
Yeah.
And but I mean, I'm not being mean or uncaring. You could certainly we can empathize with the young person's feelings. That's not the point. We don't have to be mean about it or just act like it doesn't matter. It does matter, but their upgrade, if they turn their attitudes about this in the right direction, is going to they're going to have parents who aren't stressed, parents who are living the dream, lifestyle increases, a different environment to live in, and it could be an adventure.
Yeah, and I think when you're in the weeds of decisions like that, sometimes it can be so hard to sort through your options and all the different variables. But even like you said, which is more important? That you keep the sophomore in high school, the middle schooler through the school system, or that you're happy and enjoy every aspect of your life?
It sounds like 5 years of hell.
Yeah. Well, it's like, this is going to affect everything. When you look at it like that, you go,
and the only benefit is the kid doesn't change friend sets.
Right.
That's the only thing. We're going through 5 years of hell, so a middle schooler doesn't change friend sets. I'm done with this. No, I wouldn't do it. I'm sorry. Hey, man, I appreciate you. You got a good heart, and you're thinking this through. You wanted some input, you got it, and it's probably worth what you paid for it. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey, it's Kelly, associate producer and phone screener for The Ramsey Show. If you would like to do your debt-free screen live on the show, make sure you visit theramseyshow.com and register. We would love for you to come to Nashville and tell Dave your story.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I am Dave Ramsey, your host. You jump in. We'll talk about your life and your money. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Christy Wright, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, is my co-host today. Again, the number 888-825-5225. Johnny is with us in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Hi, Johnny. How are you?
Hi, Dave. How are you doing?
Better than I deserve, sir. How can we help?
Good. Hey, I was calling. I have a couple of questions. The first one is, if I have a loan with an interest rate of less than 1%, why does it make sense to attack that loan and try to get rid of that debt when I could use the minimum payments and not have to pay a lot of interest and put the extra money from my income into a savings account with a higher return, or a Roth IRA, or some sort of retirement plan where I'm going to be getting, 10% return or higher if I was doing like investing and stuff.
Okay. And so how old are you?
I'm 28, and a little bit of my background. I went to the United States Military Academy. I got kicked out and luckily didn't have to pay back everything, and I enlisted, but I still have that loan payment. So my income's around $2,100 a month, and my minimum loan payments is $618, and it was originally $36,000 loan. I got it down to about $10,500, so
good for you.
$10,500.
Good for you. Okay. Well, it's a really good question, and it's asked by a lot of people, and it took me a little while to understand the answer. When I went broke and lost everything because I had too much debt, my first part of my journey was through a faith lens, because I had all these letters and licenses and degrees after my name all about finances, said I was supposed to know something about money, but there I was, bankrupt. So apparently I was a doofus, right? And so I started approaching things first through the faith lens, and I read in the Bible that the borrower is slave to the lender. And I started learning from Christian teachers that the Bible doesn't have anything good to say about debt. So if God doesn't like debt, why would I? Okay, so I quit. I don't borrow money. And I did it on that basis alone. Over the years, that was 30 years ago, over the years, I also have approached it through the lens of mathematics or academia. So here's what I have discovered. When you say, all right, I could invest in a mutual fund at 12%, why would I ever pay off my house at 3%? Because I could use that money and invest it at 12 or 11 or whatever, and I'm going to make an 8 or a 9% spread. And that's the essence of your question, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess, talking about a house or something
or
whatever,
whatever the debt. Anytime I can borrow money at a cheaper rate than I can invest it, why would I ever not do that as much as I can do it? Okay?
Yeah.
And the way to explore that and answer that sometimes is scale something and see if your idea works with scale. And so if you could borrow $50 million and go in debt $50 million in order to invest that money and make the spread, would you do it? And that causes your heart to stop a second. You get a little tightness in your throat and your stomach. If you're mature anyway, your stomach starts to move up towards your throat, and you think you want to throw up. When I put scale to the idea, it scares you. Why does it scare you? Because there's risk, and risk was left out of your formula. Okay.
Right.
And the honest truth is there's actual mathematical ways to insert risk into the formula. Let me give you a little lesson here on mutual funds, okay? An aggressive growth stock mutual fund is very volatile. If you were to map it, it goes way up and way down like a super crazy roller coaster. The difference in the top of that mountain and the bottom of that valley mathematically in a statistical measure is called a beta. The greater the beta, the greater the volatility, the greater the risk of the mutual fund. And so if you have an aggressive growth stock mutual fund with a beta of 2, which will take your breath away, or you have and it makes a 26% rate of return, you do not compare that, if you are sophisticated, apples to apples with a growth and income mutual fund, which has a beta of a 0.5, meaning the kiddie roller coaster. Okay?
Right.
And so you don't compare 26% with 12% without adjusting for risk, and you use an inverse formula in mathematics with that beta and adjust for risk, and then you can measure these things accurately against each other, risk adjusted. You have no risk adjustment in your formula, so your formula is wrong.
Right, I understand that.
Okay, so don't borrow money because you're not risk adjusting on your theoretical concept. And you're making $2,200 or $2,100 a month. And the second piece of data that you want to do is the study that we did here. And as we studied millionaires, Christy, and we studied 10,167 millionaires, we did not find any of them that said the way I became a millionaire was by not paying off low-interest debt and investing the money.
Yeah.
Not a single one out of 10,167 that we interviewed.
Right.
And there were Ramsey millionaires and white space millionaires, meaning they don't even know who I am or we are. And so if the real millionaires aren't doing that to become wealthy and your formula is wrong, both of those things tell you, don't do this crap.
Yeah. I think people get caught up in the math, and it's not that the math is not important. Math
they didn't get
is
caught
important.
up enough in the math.
It's about the motivation, the momentum of one thing at a time in the baby steps. But the other thing I want you to account for, and you talked about this with risk, Dave, the thing that I think people miss is in debt, any type of debt with the risk, you're losing power and control and options. When you own things, when you save and put your money in savings, when you are debt free, then you have more power, more control, and more options. And everything we teach is about increasing your power and control and decreasing your risk.
Well, because when you do, you increase your probability of becoming wealthy.
Yes.
And you don't have to start over again like I did because I was stupid and deeply in debt.
Right.
And
you don't owe anyone anything.
You know, my risk meter was broken. I think when they get you in the real estate business, they take a hammer to your risk meter and just break it. Because all these real estate investors, they do not perceive the risk of the leverage.
Yeah.
And they just buy, we had all these seminars going on in the 80s, nothing down real estate. The guy went chapter 11 that wrote the book,
Yeah.
And so, and all these, I was running into a guy the other day, I had forgotten the name. There was a nothing down seminar on TV, on the first infomercial was a guy named Dave Delgado.
Okay.
And I ran into him at this he owns a big house in Cabo when I was visiting down there the other day. And it's like he has a big winery and all this stuff, but he made all this money from the infomercial, not from real estate.
Not from the real estate.
So, real estate's fine, but here's the thing. Debt is not the shortest path to wealth because of the risk factor. That's what it comes down to, Johnny. Now, you can try it and be a hardhead if you want, but that's the answer to the question. This is The Ramsey Show. What makes our show unique is that we genuinely care about our listeners. We're intentional about choosing the best advertisers to recommend. Blinds.com is no exception. They offer high-quality window treatments at unbelievable prices, and they make it simple to shop blinds, shades, and interior shutters with easy online ordering, free shipping, and a guaranteed perfect fit. Go to Blinds.com and take advantage of this week's special savings. If you're feeling stuck or disengaged in your current job, or maybe you just dread getting out of bed to go to work in the morning. If you're searching for a new job for any reason, our Get Hired live stream event on Tuesday, April 27th is for you. This one-night event is going to help you learn how to get clear on what you do best, get qualified for the job you want, and then get connected to real job opportunities. It's time to take the next step toward the work you love, no matter your situation. Ken Coleman is going to be holding this, our in-house career expert, host of the Ken Coleman Show, and Ken can show you exactly what to do to land into a position that is more fulfilling, making more money, and get your life back. Life is too short. Now, sometimes we go through dry seasons, sometimes we go through ups or downs. That's not what we're talking about. But if you're stuck in a mess, you're going to stay stuck there until you do something about it. Ken can help you do that. He'll give you an exact game plan, step by step. Join him on Tuesday, April 27th to take control of your career and start working toward what you were born to do. Tickets start at just $20. Text HIRED to 33789. HIRED to 33789. Corey is in Huntsville. Hi, Corey. Welcome to the Ramsey Show. How can we help?
Hey, Dave. Thanks for taking my call today.
Sure.
Honored to talk to you both.
You too.
My question is, I started a handyman business about 2 years ago on the side, and I've got a steady job, but I want to take the handyman business full-time. And it's kind of taken off to the point to where I work 4 10s on my regular job, and my other 2 days a week I'm working in the handyman business, and it's getting to where I can't keep up hardly. So I'm kind of stuck. I can't make any more really than what I'm making now on the handyman business.
Why?
Until I dedicate more time to it.
Why can't you raise your prices?
Well, I guess I could. I'm trying to get my name out there more, and
you're already too busy.
How much are you making right now on the handyman job?
Well, last year I cleared about $15,000, and I've got a little nest egg put back in my business, and right now I got about $10,000 worth of work on the books as far as profit.
What are you making your full-time job?
Around 70.
And about how many hours a week realistically are you working on the handyman stuff?
Probably 20 to 25.
Okay, so if you doubled your income from 15 to 30 by doubling your hours only, you're still going to be at half of what you're making now if you quit and go full time.
Right.
Yeah, how long you've been doing it? 2 years?
Yes, ma'am.
Your name's out there, Corey. You've not been doing this 2 months. Your name's out there. If you're going to get this job to be something you can do full time, and even get close to what you're making now, you're going to have to raise your prices. Do you see the math of that? Because even like Dave said, even if you double the hours, you're still at half of what you're making. So raising your prices.
You want to work a 50-hour week for $30,000 a year?
No, sir.
Well, 15 is what you're making on a 25-hour week on handyman. Isn't that what you told me?
Right, that was last year, which I mean, every year I've started getting busier and busier. This year it's really took off, and I'm getting all this work right now.
So what do you project if you just keep it going like you're going right now, part-time? What do you project you will make on your handyman business in this calendar year? Profit.
I think I could make 30 this year on the side.
Okay. Then if you doubled that and worked 50 hours, you could make 60.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you still need to raise your prices.
Okay.
The other thing I want you to not be afraid of, Corey, is a lot of small business owners, especially when you're a solopreneur, you're doing this whole thing yourself, there's a fear that if I raise my prices, people won't come to me. Pricing cannot be your only value proposition. They need to come to you because you're good, because you're reliable, because you do the work on time.
You actually tell the truth.
You tell the truth. And then when you raise your prices, they'll pay more than you think because they want a good, reliable handyman that does good work. And what's interesting is you actually may get customers that you're not getting right now because you're so cheap.
What price range home are you working in on average?
Probably around 200s, 200,000.
Yeah, you need to kick that up.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my name out in more.
Yeah. You need to be working 750,000 to $1.5 million homes in Huntsville, Alabama, and they will pay more because let me just tell you, the luxury market, if you can give them reliability, integrity, you show up on time, you do what you say you're going to do, and it's quick, it's efficient. You don't give them a bunch of hassle. They will pay you for that, and they don't mind. You are not ripping them off. I am one of them.
Okay.
The other thing, Corey, is the handyman business. That is a word of mouth marketing business. Everyone talks about who did great work at their house. They will tell all their friends. So in case for some reason they don't do it on their own, which they probably will, ask for it. Ask for referrals. You finish a job, leave your business card. Thanks so much. If you know of anyone else that I might be able to help, get them spreading the word for you.
Among their friends.
And that will grow your business even faster. With your price increase, you'll see this thing take off a lot faster than it would otherwise.
Yeah, the yoga class for the woman that lives in the $1.2 million house is full of prospects.
Okay.
Once you've taken care of her problem and her husband didn't have to screw with it, you are a freaking hero, dude.
Every person that's ever worked on our house has been a referral. I've never brought someone that I just, as a random person. It's always been someone worked on someone else's. The guy that built our deck at our house was a friend that built a deck and did a good job. It's word of mouth. It's all word of mouth.
And by the way, when you do a good job and you charge fairly and you charge what you say you were going to charge and you do it on time and efficiently, you will not be able to beat people away from your door because you don't have any competition, because most people doing what you're doing don't do a good job. They don't follow up. They don't
finish on time.
They come in on the house dirty. And by the way, they get referrals too, where that same yoga class knows don't use that guy.
That's right.
Because she's going to tell everybody. That's how it works. This tribal marketing, you get in these tribes. So I think you need to raise your sights on the price range of home you're serving, the wealth of the client. That way price is less of an object. Let's work this a little bit more. Let's get this to where when you double your hours by quitting, that you are going to at least make what you're making. If you can get the boat that close to the dock, then I'll make the jump. But right now, you're going to be swimming because the boat's not close enough to the dock. You're going to hit the water, dude, because there's too much gap between where you are and where you want to be, and it's a wing and a prayer and a wish that you're hoping is going to get you there, and it's not.
And Corey, write this down. Run your numbers through the end of the year. What do you need to make? How many hours do you need to work? How many clients do you need to have? At what dollar project to know by this goal, by this time frame, I could quit and make the same amount of money? You need to see it, because otherwise it's just going to feel like this season is never ending. You're tired from working full time in this side gig. It'll motivate you to stick with it for this whole season, to build that business up enough on the side where you can make that next step, not a terrifying leap, that step.
You know what goes with that? That's a really good suggestion. And what goes with that, the number two punch with that, is start studying what type of work has the most margin. I mean, are you doing some stuff that has no margin in it? And, so you just quit doing that type of repair. This type of, unless it's a long-term client and you got to do it just as a favor to keep a long-term client busy, but figure out where you're making your stinking money. You may be able to do X type of a handyman job and make 3 times as much per hour as you could on Y, just because what people are willing to pay for X versus Y.
Yeah, and find out, while you're at it, you can find out where are you losing money. Someone comes in and go, while you're here, change the wall. Okay, well, that's going to be extra. Add-ons, scope creep.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you can have a menu of services, but take stuff off the menu that's not selling well and doesn't have margin. And that's a beautiful way to get at this. Man, you got a great business, Corey. Let's just fine-tune it a little before you make the leap. That's what we're trying to help you do here. Great question, sir. This is The Ramsey Show. Show. Christy Wright, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Juan and Lindsay are with us. They are ready to do a debt-free scream from Denver, Colorado. Hey, guys, how are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Better than I deserve. Welcome. So good to have you. How much debt have you paid off?
We've paid off $79,355.
I love it. How long did this take?
15 months.
Wow, you kicked it. And your range of income during that time?
We started off at 108 and we ended at 130.
Good. What do you guys do for a living?
I'm a nurse.
I order selector at King Soopers warehouse.
Great. Very cool. Good for you guys. You've been working your butts off, hadn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what kind of debt was this $79,000?
Credit cards, student loans, car payments, and a medical IVF loan.
Wow. Tons of debt. So what happened 15 months ago that lit you on fire?
I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, and I couldn't. I was looking at our budget. I'm like, we make so much money, yet I can't do this. So we had heard about you, and that night I was Googling how to get rid of debt, and I signed up for FPU, and it was no turning back after that.
That's cool.
So, Juan, wait a minute. She walked in and said, I just signed us up for FPU. What'd you say,
What are you doing?
What?
Yeah. So I kind of followed her step.
Oh, so no resistance. You just went along for the ride, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I just got tired of, we'll pay off one credit card, then, slowly we'll start using it, or I'll start using it again, and next thing you know, it's $3,000-$4,000 on that, and just got tired of that.
Yeah.
Lindsay,
the second night in FPU, I cut up 22 credit cards, and that was a record for our class.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So you guys were just kind of doing the rat in a wheel thing, just run, have a heart attack and die, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lindsay, you bring up a good point, though, when you said you wanted to be a stay-at-home mom and you looked at how much money you made and you couldn't do it. I think a lot of people have that moment where they realize we are making such good money and we have nothing to show for it. We're making such good money and we can't achieve our goals, whatever that thing is, and you realize in that moment something's got to change.
Yes. And all while doing it, I lost 30 pounds on beans and rice diet.
Okay.
Oh, well, there's that. Oh, my gosh. Well, discipline begets discipline, they say, that when you've got your act together in one area of your life, it blends over into the other areas very naturally, is what I've always heard. And I think that's probably absolutely right. So very, very well done, you guys. What do you tell people the secret to getting out of debt is?
The cash envelopes.
Yeah. Yeah, budgeting.
So you guys were working together in unity, in lockstep as you went along then?
Yes.
Yes.
Way to go. Congratulations. How's it feel?
So amazing. It's still not real. I can't believe we're even talking to you. This is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when did you pay off the last debt?
February 20th.
Oh, just the other day. Excellent. So when you paid that off, when you look back at the list of people you paid off, which one debt on that list you go, I hate you people. I'm so glad you're gone?
I would have to say it was the IVF medical loan because we had calculated we wouldn't pay off our daughter until she was 15 years old, and she's 4 years old now, and we paid it off. So I'm like, never again.
Wow.
Any more debt.
And that's a whole different type of loan because of how personal that is. That's your baby.
Yeah.
Wow.
I told her, if we don't pay you off, mija, the bank's going to come and get you.
Oh! Whoa! You have to sit in the vault until we get you paid off, and then you can put you on layaway.
Yeah.
She's not up for repossession.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I'm thinking she's probably going to tell her counselor this story when she's older. Oh, my gosh, that's traumatic. I love it. You guys are fun. Well, congratulations, you guys. We're so proud of you. Very, very well done. You're rock stars. So will you ever go back in debt?
Never.
No.
Not for anything. Nothing big enough.
22 cards are gone. Your wallet's a little thinner now in the best way. Other than those cash envelopes, those cards are gone.
Yeah. Yeah. Even with the cash envelopes, I have my debit card, but I never use it.
That's cool. I like that.
Cash
Yeah. I hardly ever use mine. I carry a money clip with money in it, and that's my redneck envelope, I guess. But and so I use a debit card at the gas station and a few other places, but lots of places I'm still that weird dude that pays cash, and people are like, well, how do you make change again? Because nobody knows how anymore. So, well, way to go, you guys. We got a copy of Rachel Cruz's book for you, Know Yourself, Know Your Money, her latest New York Times bestseller, and help you out with that. And so, count it down. Juan and Lindsay, Denver, Colorado, $79,000 paid off in 15 months, making $108 to $130. Count it down. Let's hear your debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1.
That's what it sounds like when you finally get free. It's a big deal. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Rodrigo is writing in asking about Business Boutique. He says, my wife and I are opening a new hair salon. It will have 8 booths being rented out. Do we need to have an LLC?
Dave, you and I have talked about this before because I actually came to you years ago when we were starting Business Boutique of what are the technicalities, and really the simplest way you explained it to me, which I thought was really helpful, is are you in a high liability business or do you have a target on your back? Do you have the perceived wealth or a lot of wealth where people would want to sue you, and if you don't, then you're probably fine to operate as a sole proprietor for those first years starting out until you really get into the millions. And so I think that I don't see a hair salon as a high liability business. If you were opening up something like, I use the example of a horseback riding camp for kids, that's high liability. You've got unpredictable animals, that type of thing. But a hair salon, I don't think is. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you've got 8 booths. One of those people could get twisted up and decide to try to sue you or something. So you could do an LLC just to kind of ward them off, because the most they could get would be the things that the LLC owns if you lost the lawsuit, that kind of a thing. But good business practices more than anything else will keep you out of court.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we've run this business for 30 years and have had just a handful of lawsuits out of all of that time. Of course, the vast majority of that time we have been an LLC or a sub-S corp. So it would be okay either way here. If you got 8 different people at 8 different booths that could screw up something. Yeah. I don't know what it would be, but people get pretty emotional about their hair, I hear. I don't know I don't have this issue, but I've heard about stories of people that have hair. So, but I mean, if you got someone felt like they got a chemical infection from getting their hair dyed or whatever. I'm making up stuff here. I don't even know. But
yeah, the 8 booths is what stood out to me as far as the only thing that made me think it might need to be. But typically, I mean, that's not a dangerous business. But if you got 8 people, that's just by scale and scope,
Exactly. And what you and I have talked about in the past too is I started this as a sole proprietorship, and you just open that as a DBA, doing business as Dave Ramsey, DBA, doing business as the Lampo Group. And then we incorporated the Lampo Group and later took it to an LLC. But that was after we got a little bit of size to where there was something to get.
Right.
But basically, if you're broke and you're starting a business and it's a little, startup thing, you don't need to spend the money or screw with the tax returns to do an LLC on everything you do.
Yeah.
That's overkill.
Yeah.
This one's kind of on the bubble, so it wouldn't hurt to go ahead and do it. Just because of the 8 booth thing. Yeah. That would be the only reason I would think about it here. But good question writing in, Rodrigo. We appreciate that. This is The Ramsey Show. Christy Wright, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Stephen is in Nashville. Hi, Stephen. Welcome to the Ramsey Show. How can we help?
Hey, Dave. Hey, Christy. Huge fans of what y'all are doing. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, so right now I'm in a pretty tough situation. I used to be in a band, and we spent about 4 years building it and eventually got offered a record deal at the beginning of 2020. And unfortunately, the lead singer in my band decided last minute that he didn't want me in the band and cut me out of the record deal. And it's been a back and forth ordeal with our lawyers and their lawyers, and just trying to get what I deserve out of it, especially since I tracked on all the previous songs that was sold to the label. At this point, it doesn't look like they're going to want to meet in the middle, and I don't have enough money to take them to court. So my question is, should I keep fighting for what's mine, or should I just let go of it and trust God with it?
So was there a partnership agreement? How was the band formed?
Yeah, so it was kind of it was started off as a thing formed in high school. So there wasn't really a, written agreement or anything like that. It just started off as a hobby.
So, but I mean, what was your understanding was you were a partner?
Yes, sir.
That you were not an employee?
Right. Yes, sir.
And was that everyone else's understanding?
Yes, sir.
What happened? Like, why did they kick you out? Do you know? What's the story?
Yeah, so basically we had been in it for about 4 years, and when we were forming up getting to the record deal, basically all four of us, there was 4 band members, and we had a new guy come in later on in the picture. He wasn't an original band member, and when he had joined, basically, I guess he just started manipulating.
I'm confused how, if you're equal partners, how one of the equal partners can decide to kick somebody out.
Yes, exactly.
Well, why don't you just say, I'm not kicked out, you are?
Yeah, well, apparently the thing is he already went behind my back without telling me. He went and had another contract going and then broke the news to me what had happened. So there was no form
so they
of
did a contract and everybody else signed it with the record company, and you were cut out of the deal is what it amounts to.
Right.
Okay,
Yes,
and that's how you kicked you out. Okay, that's logical. I see how that happens. All right. Okay, so what's on you is, and we've all done this, but you were young and stupid, and you did not do an agreement in writing, and you don't do anything in business without an agreement in writing. And it's not because contracts are magical and make people behave. It's because that way there's a real clear understanding of what the flip is really going on here. Instead, we went from garage band and the back of the van into a deal with no agreement. And that's where you got screwed. Right. And so I've done stuff where I left myself vulnerable. That's what you did. And I end up getting screwed because I left myself vulnerable. And what I get from that, I call that stupid tax when I do it, because I lose money because I was stupid. And my trick is in life to never pay the same stupid tax twice. You won't ever do this one again, will you?
No, sir.
You'll always have it in writing from now on. And so how much money's involved?
It was a 6-figure project. So it's $250,000 project.
Is that how much money you would have gotten 1/4 or 1/5 of that?
So there would be, they didn't specify exactly how much money up front that the band members would get, but about 90% of that, I'm guessing 80 to 90% of that was definitely used for just marketing, studio fees.
Okay, so you didn't get any real money then. So
No,
there's you're going to go to court over $5,000.
Gotcha.
I don't think it's worth the headache, Stephen.
No.
The money's a piece of it. It's more just like you just feel wronged, and I get that, but you're continuing to let it steal your peace of mind by continuing to worry about it. And so it's just like Dave said, it's the stupid tax. I think you just cut your losses, walk away, move on, don't make that mistake again. And I know you're on those tracks, and seeing them continue to make music without you is like, that's got to just like really get to you. But I think if you can let that go, cut those ties and move on, you will feel such a different level of peace, because I just can't even imagine how draining this must be on you to worry about, stress about.
Yeah, I mean, they owe you for rent in your head because they've been living in your head for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what Christy's saying. And when you give them the eviction notice from your head, then you're going to get back to living life again and move on. Mathematically, it's not worth it to fight. You're going to spend $15,000-$20,000 trying to capture 5 if you win. And it's not that there's not a principle here that's worth fighting on for me, especially since you did not get it in writing, and that's on you as well. And so I think the best thing that would end up happening is you end up settling or some silly thing like that, and it's some kind of a moral victory. I'm with you. I think your first up suggestion when you came on the line, Stephen, was, do I walk away and let God handle this? And the answer is yes. And that has nothing to do with them. Mm-hmm. It has nothing to do with what's right or wrong. It has nothing to do. If there's some things worth fighting for. And you allocate money to fight for it, and it's just because that's a fight I need to win just before the Lord. I'm not going to get messed over on this, and I'm going to fight this one to the death. And so, we're going to just put a budget together for the legal fees, and we're just going to be there a while. Let's just do it. Game on. But most things you're better off to just go water off a duck's back and move along, and I mean, this will be something you talk about with buddies over coffee 20 years from now that happened to you back when. And it's just that time you learned a lesson. I would turn it loose. And, the other thing is that you're in Nashville, and the music business really is not that big. And so now this guy, every time you're around music, this guy that screws people over, he's got another problem because he's got you out here screwing up his reputation because it's screwed up because he lies and steals. And so it's going to cost him a lot more than $5,000 over the scope of his life because, again, you're in a fairly small community of people. They're not that large. And so, word gets out on a guy and nobody wants to work with him. And it's, that's going to cost him. He's the one that's really screwed up here. So, anyway, and the other thing is you just learned, America, about record contracts. Woohoo! We got signed. We're going to give you $250,000, except we're really not. We're just going to commit to spend that on you, sorta, maybe. And we're going to run up the studio fees, and we're going to run up the recording costs. And when all this is done, you're going to get $3, and we're going to own your masters. And then if you get a big hit and it's so big that it out-earns all this stupidity, then actually you will be a star and have some money. But most of the time, you will just end up with no money and a record.
The other thing, Stephen, I just want to encourage you is it feels like that maybe you're thinking if you decide to move on and let this go, that it makes what they did okay, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it okay. You're just going to move on for your own peace of mind, for your own quality of life, for your own progress, and not letting it continue to eat at you. So don't feel like it somehow dismisses that this was a big deal. It was a big deal, and that hurt. And those were your friends from high school, and that was your music and your art you made together. That must really hurt. And it's okay to be hurt and still decide to let it go and move on.
Agree. Yeah, I mean, there are things that hurt you and piss you off, and you remember them, and you remember the people. And, and some of these things, it's not a matter of sitting around holding a grudge and, wringing your hands over it, but it is to, if Dr. John Deloney was here, he would say, it's a loss, mm-hmm. and it's a valid loss, and grieving mm-hmm. about a valid loss of friendship, grieving about a valid loss of being, taken to the cleaners by somebody is, that's a valid thing. You got hurt, dude. Mm-hmm. And to Christy's point, I agree with that. So, but if I'm in your shoes, you asked, I'd move on. I pick my battles. There's some of them I fight to the death, but most of them I don't. So there you go. That puts this hour of the Ramsey Show in the books.
This is James Childs, producer of The Ramsey Show. Did you know The Ramsey Show is one of the most popular podcasts in the world? Subscribe or follow today wherever you listen to podcasts.
The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. Christy Wright, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, is my co-host today as we take your calls about your life and your money. Open phones at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Carrie is with us to start off this hour in Detroit, Michigan. Hi, Carrie. How are you?
Hi, Dave. How are you guys doing today?
Better than we deserve. What's up?
So I left my corporate job at the end of February, and I finished up a certification that I've been working on for about a year and a half in animal training at the end of March. I've been working since the end of February on building a website, ordering business cards, networking, but I'm at a point now where I'm nervous to pull the trigger and publish my website and distribute my business cards at local businesses. And I guess I'm nervous. I'm looking for some advice on just how to not feel like a fraud since I'm still new at this. And how do I even go about setting my prices when I'm still learning? I'm still, a novice, not a quote unquote expert yet.
Yeah, Carrie, I'm going to tell you the #1 way to get rid of this feeling of the fear, the insecurity, the doubt, the imposter syndrome, all that. The #1 thing is to start doing stuff. No, listen, I know that sounds simple, but here, there's actually, there's a practical implication of this. Okay. I tell people all the time, the antidote to fear is action. Nothing will silence your fear of doing the thing like doing the thing, so go do the thing. Nothing will silence your fear of publishing the website like pressing publish. Or taking your business cards to the local, vets or wherever you're, the action steps that you take. And every time that you take a step of faith, that you take a step of action, you actually start to do stuff with this business, your fear lessens, that voice in your head gets quieter, your confidence grows, and you go, oh my gosh, I did it and I survived. What else can I do? But if you're waiting around until this feeling of ready comes over you, it will never happen.
So like obedience training for dogs?
Actually, I'm going to be working with exotic birds.
Who's your market? What are you? What problem are you?
Exotic birds, but you're teaching exotic birds to behave.
I am teaching exotic birds how to behave, and surprisingly, there is a market for it.
And surprisingly, you can do that. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's the surprising part.
That's amazing.
That you know how to do that.
So, yes. So I'll be training like parrots mainly. Parrots are one of the most rehomed animals.
Because they won't behave?
Because they won't behave. They're not meant to be in homes. They're meant to be in the wild. They're not domesticated.
So they get mean.
They're mean. They're destructive.
And you train them to not be so mean.
Instead of putting them on the grill,
Correct.
people rehome them. Okay.
Yes.
Have you checked out the market in Detroit?
So long.
Like, is there do you know the market? Like where the parrot owners hang out in Detroit?
I do. So when I left my corporate job, I took a job in a exotic bird store, basically just doing retail sales, which is horrible.
Yeah.
But it's giving me the opportunity to network with bird owners. I've also been networking with local bird rescues to.
So are you afraid that you cannot train them?
I have had some experience, but I haven't experienced every issue yet, and haven't.
I've been doing this 30 years, and this is the first parrot call I got.
We've never.
So I've never experienced this issue before, but I'm winging my way through it. No pun intended. But all right. So, all right. Here's the thing.
Lord.
Here's the thing. So the only thing I can draw a parallel on is I was with a guy who's been as a professional dog trainer for hunting dogs back last fall, and we had this long talk about hunting dogs, just because I was interested in what he was doing and what he was selling them for unbelievable money, because he's apparently very, very big. And he had this one dog he got, and he could not train it. And he said, I've been doing this 20 years. And he said, this dog was an absolute butthole. You could not train this dog. And he said, so I just sent it back to the owner, and I didn't charge him because I couldn't help him.
Right.
So what's wrong with that strategy?
No, that's a good strategy.
You can. That is going to be a part of the journey, Carrie. I don't think you need to dread that and fear that. I think you need to accept that.
There's going to be a
parrots.
bird you can't.
There's going to be parrots you don't know what to do with. Carrie, I lived on a farm. I had a horse back years ago, and same situation, sent this horse to be trained, and they brought it back to me. They said, we've broken a bazillion horses. We can't break this horse. I ended up selling the horse. He couldn't be trained. So that's going to happen. You just accept that. Rather than fear it, just accept it. But know that the majority of the time, you're going to have parrots that you can train based on your education and certification, and you're going to be able to help these people. But here's what I want you to do. I got a challenge for you. I want you to get one customer. Yeah. I don't care who, I don't care where, and I don't care what you charge. You get one customer.
Tell them, you're my first customer. I'm going to do it for $3. But go do it, for God's sake.
Do it. And when you do, it's going to do so much for your confidence.
Yeah. Just get out there and start swinging. Get at the plate, swing the bat.
Don't wait until you're not scared to do the thing you want to do. Do it scared. The antidote to fear is action.
The first time I sat down in this chair and got in front of the microphone, I couldn't hardly talk. I was so nervous. And now my pulse rate doesn't even change, But there are people that walk up in front of an audience and break out in sweat. Do it scared. Play scared. The first time you got on stage, I was there. You were scared.
I use this example all the time because I think sometimes we look at people doing things that seem scary and we think, oh, well, they're fearless. They're just confident. They just have this certain gene that I don't have. They're doing it despite their fear. And so, Carrie, if you're waiting for permission, for someone to give you enough approval or someone to tell you it's not going to happen. I need you to go get a customer, anywhere, for any amount of money, any parrot, and help this person with their parrot this week, and watch how that first customer, that first interaction, do it scared, will build your confidence.
We work with dysfunctional parrots. Oh my gosh, this is so awesome.
But I love that she said, what if I get a parrot I don't know
so
deal with?
We're like,
jokes we've never got a call on parrots before. This is going to be part of the journey.
There's so many jokes she could use. She's just got to, you got to embrace the humor in this.
You got to wing it.
Yeah, I can't help you. This one's a bird brain. I mean, this is just so, you got to wing it. This one's a bird brain. I can't help you.
You can do this, Carrie. Hey, stay on the line. I want to send you my book. Kelly, you're sending you my book, Business Boutique. That will help you push past your fear.
Carrie, you're amazing.
Chapter 2, Carrie. Read Chapter 2 on fear. You got this.
For any of you out there that are unemployed, shut up. I mean, she's a parrot trainer. My God. This is The Ramsey Show.
We were drawn to Christian Healthcare Ministries because we both had young families and we wanted to have more children. And we had also just started a real estate company and needed to find healthcare coverage that would meet our needs. We were attracted to CHM because of its low monthly costs and the ability to negotiate medical costs down.
Established in 1981 and accredited by the Better Business Bureau, CHM is here to meet the needs of your growing family or small business. Check us out at chministries.org/budget.
We absolutely believe in it.
Chrissy Wright Ramsey personality is my co-host today. You and I have the blessing of getting to teach people about business, about money, about life. And in a sense, that's passing on a blessing that all of us have had at one time or another. And that is, I think most of us can look back, the vast majority of us can look back and say somewhere in our education career, K through college, there was a teacher that was a life changer. Mm-hmm. I bet you're seeing one right now in your mind.
You know, it's so interesting because just the other day I was thinking of my track coach, but even with writing specifically, you know, for years, Dave, I thought, I'm not a writer. And I am a writer, and I've gotten better through practice. But I remember even in high school, a specific English teacher that just that one class, and it wasn't the assignments, it wasn't the projects, it was how she spoke life over me. It was how she believed in me, how she encouraged me in my writing projects that really started that love of writing for me at such an early age. And it's amazing how a teacher's presence and their encouragement can make a bigger difference than even what the subject is, just who they are in these kids' lives.
Yeah. I was scheduled to flunk the second grade because I couldn't read. And apparently my mother called a GH summit in the principal's office, and they promoted me beyond my ability anyway. And so I go into the third grade reading below kindergarten level, basically. Miss Mary Jane Hurt taught me how to read.
Wow.
And I've had 7 New York Times bestsellers.
Wow.
I mean, these teachers change the whole trajectory of your life.
That's right.
You know, I mean, these teachers that don't mail it in. Now, we all had the one that mailed it in.
Right.
Or the 7 that mailed it in or whatever, including the tenured college professor who didn't do a day of work in their dadgum life after they got tenured. We had those too. But the real teachers, the ones who see this as a calling, not just collecting a check.
Right.
They're the ones that change people's lives. And so past year has been pretty stressful. We've all gotten a new appreciation for our teachers, and that's why our team is celebrating them and all of the hard work and dedication that they give every day with our Teacher Appreciation Giveaway, sponsored by Mint Mobile, the affordable premium wireless provider. Don't miss out on the chance to win awesome cash prizes like the grand prize, $5,000 cash for a teacher. So, teachers, here's what you do. You don't want to miss out on this. Go to RamseySolutions.com/teacher and enter, and you'll be in the drawing. It is that simple. You don't even have to write an essay. We should do that just to be mean. But no, just if you're a teacher, enter at RamseySolutions.com/teacher, and we're going to give away lots of cashes and lots of prizes, but the grand prize, $5,000 cash. We used to give away vacations back when people could do those, but now you don't even know how that works, so we're just going to give you the money and you can figure it out. The giveaway ends on April the 30th, just around the corner, and if you're not a teacher, be sure and tell the teachers in your life or in your kid's life to go to RamseySolutions.com/teacher to enter. And speaking of great teachers, we have Rod Hames on the line. Rod is a middle school teacher in Atlanta, Georgia at Cruz Middle School, and he teaches our high school curriculum, Foundations in Personal Finance, our middle school curriculum for middle schoolers. Hey, Rod, how are you?
Great, Dave. Thank you so much, you and Christy. I appreciate you guys having me online.
Well, thank you, and we appreciate you being one of those teachers that changes lives and teaching middle schoolers this stuff. So how many students at Cruz Middle School?
About 1,300.
Oh, wow. It's a big school.
Big school, yeah.
Okay. And how long have you been teaching?
Well, I'm finished up my 30th year.
Wow.
So, yeah, 30
Congratulations.
years.
Wow, that's neat.
Thank you.
Congrats. And so you're teaching Foundations. How long have you been teaching the curriculum to the middle schoolers?
Well, thankfully, one of your smart investors got involved in my life, and so thankful for Roger S. Green and the work that they do as a smart investor. And they have sponsored my class for 3 straight years, over 300 kids for 3 straight. So we're looking at almost 1,000 students that Roger Green has sponsored. So, yeah, It's been great.
Wow, that's amazing.
Well, we have a lot of businesses, particularly small businesses, pay for the curriculum for a school, middle school, for high schools all over America. About 48% of the high schools have now taught Foundations in Personal Finance. The middle schools are catching on to it. We've got a middle school curriculum that's highly popular as well. So I'm interested, what are these middle schoolers picking up out of this that catches your eye and you go, oh, this is worth doing?
Well, it is absolutely you would be shocked at what they would say. I even pulled up a quote or two, and I thought, oh, my word, I love what this one sixth-grade girl wrote. She said, because we do a ceremony at the very end of the unit when we finish the foundation. And I asked them, I say, I need a quote from everybody. I want to know, what have you learned? And this one girl just summed it all up to me. She said, I have learned to never spend what you don't have. I love that.
Wow.
She gets it.
I know.
That's awesome.
We need to elect her to Congress.
Oh, so true.
Wow. That's amazing. That's so fun. How rewarding is that? That's so cool. Very
well,
cool.
You talked about a blessing. What a blessing it is to work with kids, to be able to turn on light bulbs, and to be able to, as you said, we have the choice to speak life into these children's lives. So it's a great blessing. As you said, it's a calling, and it's so much fun. I hope I can hold on for several more years, because this truth has got to get out to our youth.
That is so
That's
cool.
awesome. One of the things we've seen, Rod, is a lot of times when kids are learning this in the schools, they take this information home and start talking to their parents about it. They ask questions to their parents about some of these subjects. Are you seeing that happen too?
Constantly. So anytime I get a chance to connect with that child, parent, through it's usually through an email, they will email me back and say, oh, my word, the conversations we've had about the stocks and about GameStop, and I had that great conversation about long-term investing versus what the craziness of GameStop, and had that, and the kids are going home. Even today, I finished up a unit on insurance. So I'm expecting parents to get bombarded with these insurance questions too. But I always hear from these parents, oh, Mr. Ames, thank you so much for sharing. It's opened up a line of communication that I actually didn't have with my middle school child. I don't even know, sometimes the parents don't even know how to talk to their middle school kids because they go into this crazy stage. But yeah, it's a great conversations happening at home.
That's cool. That's really
interesting. Yeah, it's a common language for this age group that starts to act like they came from another planet for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's neat. That's very cool. I hadn't thought about that. Very interesting. Well done, sir. We appreciate you teaching the class, and we appreciate you being one of those teachers out there that is changing people's lives. And we appreciate the folks over at Green Financial for sponsoring them and putting the middle school or the high school in there. If you're interested in helping us sponsor this into your school in your area, you can take on a school or you can take on a whole city. We've got national sponsors. We've got all kinds of things. Just get in touch with our Education Solutions team at RamseySolutions.com and click on the Education section. And we've got high school curriculum, middle school curriculum. We've got stuff going on in colleges and universities. We've got all kinds of different ways that we're serving the students out there and making it really easy for the teachers to teach material that is common sense and staying out of debt, living on a budget, the same stuff we teach you guys. And how many times have you guys out there said, why didn't we taught this stuff in college, in high school? It's basic common sense. Why weren't we taught this in school? Well, it is. It's taught in half the schools, and the other half need it.
Yep.
So it's that simple. And remind everybody to go to RamseySolutions.com/teacher and have all these teachers sign up for this giveaway that we're doing. That ends in about a week and a half on April the 30th, coming up really fast, about 2 weeks, I guess. And so jump in and get that done here during Financial Literacy Month. So good stuff. Again, Rod Hames in Atlanta, Georgia at Cruz Middle School. Thank you, sir, for your 30 years of service to those students. And you're incredible, sir. And thank you for teaching our curriculum. We appreciate it. And we're honored to be partnering with men like that and women like that all over America. So good stuff. This is The Ramsey Show. In the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage, Tyler and Haley are with us. Christy Wright, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. If they're on the debt-free stage, Christy, that means one thing
debt-free.
and one
I'm
thing
so
only.
excited.
Love it. How much have you guys paid off?
$63,000,
Good for you. And how long did that take?
about 3 years.
Good for you. And your range of income during that 3 years?
About 50,000.
Okay, cool. What do y'all do for a living?
I am an advisor for Transport Enterprise Leasing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a teller, but I wasn't working when we paid off the debt.
Okay. Wow. Good for you. Well, congratulations, you guys. Where do y'all live?
We live in Ringgold, Georgia. It's about 15, 20 minutes from Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Yep, just over the line. Know it well. Good for you. So, $63,000. That's a lot.
What was it? What kind of debt was it?
We had student loans, medical debt, credit cards, appliances, cars, an HVAC, a little bit of everything.
You're kind of normal.
Yeah,
Normal,
much.
but normal sucks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Too normal.
So you don't want to be normal anymore. What happened and woke you up 3 years ago? What put you on this journey?
Well, we kind of started before 3 years ago, but it was a little on the wagon, off the wagon. But 3 years ago, we just kind of said, we don't want to have debt. We've seen, friends and family have debt, and we don't want to get older and still have that debt. So we want to get rid of it while we can.
Okay, so what do you remember what happened exactly that said, okay, that's it, we're doing this? Game on. No falling off the wagon,
Well,
no
I
running
know
along
we
beside
had
the wagon.
started-
We're riding the thing.
We had started discussing the fact that we were going to have children soon, and we said we definitely don't want to have debt before we have children.
Tired
of being broke.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's it.
Gives you a different perspective when
For
you're
sure.
thinking about a family. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to go, well, I'm going to have to get my act together to be able to do this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good for you. Cool. So what were the first steps? What did you do once you said, all right, in order to have babies, we got to start acting like grown-ups, and we got to get this mess cleaned up. What'd you do?
We did the envelope system.
Mhm.
We started with the envelope system and sat down and wrote an actual budget rather than saying, well, we'll do this much on this and this much. We actually sat down, said, this is what we bring in, this is what we're going to do for our groceries, our gas, everything. So definitely making a budget and doing the envelope system.
Yeah.
And sold our car.
And you sold a car?
We
We
paid
did.
$1,000 to sell that car.
We paid, yeah, we
to get out
actually,
from under it.
we still owed money on it, and we said we don't want a car payment, and so we took it to CarMax and got rid of the debt. We
Wow.
actually paid a little bit to get out of debt, but it
What
was.
did you sell it for? How much?
They paid like $9,000. It was like $9,000 and something, and we owed like about 10.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So that got rid of 9,000 of the 63, give or 10,000 of the 63 actually.
Right.
But so very cool. And then that kind of broke things loose, and here we go.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been a one-car family during this time, then?
No, we actually, so we had a car. We had a car that was already paid for, and then we had a little bit saved up, and so we paid cash for him a car to just drive back and forth to work. So then we had two cars again, but we just
Okay.
had one that we paid cash for.
Okay. So you got a little hoopty then.
Mhm.
Yeah. Cool.
It's a good deal. So we made that $1,000 back.
Yeah, I love it. That saved you a bunch. Good run. Good run. What do you tell people the key to getting out of debt is?
Making a budget and working together. I mean, if we weren't on the same page, then it definitely wasn't going to work. If he wasn't in on it, then it wasn't going to work, which he wasn't so in on it at first. But
confession.
But definitely working together and a budget.
Sacrifice.
Very
100%.
good. Okay. So how did you guys get connected to us?
I had heard of you through church, but really I kind of started getting interested in finance when I started my first job. My nanny had always told me, you save your money and you tithe. Those were my first two things she told me as soon as I started my job. And so I kind of started researching like finance. And so I learned about you that way, but then also the Financial Peace University through our church, which we actually never took Financial Peace University, but I had heard of it. And then we listened to your podcasts a lot.
Okay. All right. So Tyler, what got you on board?
Tired of being broke, 100%.
I know, but that's what got you started. You said when she started, she kind of started, and then you came along a little later, right?
Right. There was a point where, for me, I mean, just embarrassingly enough, I couldn't afford cheese for a party one day. So I was like, something's got to change. I didn't know what it was. And then I heard about you through her. And then whenever it was the interest part where I was like, well, why should I not pay off the higher interest first? She's like, well, because you're not gaining momentum, and that made sense. What I'm doing wasn't working.
Yeah.
So, it didn't take much to get me on board because I just didn't want to be broke. But once we started going, it started to make a lot more sense.
Very cool.
And loved it.
Cool.
That's awesome. What was the part that now that you've actually gotten to experience keeping your money, how does that feel to get paid and you get to keep your money? It's not going out the window to all these debts. How does that feel?
Freeing. I don't have as much anxiety and stress.
Yeah.
And just knowing that, not that we can just do whatever we want, but we have a lot more freedom than we had before, for sure.
Absolutely. Well done, you guys. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Excellent job. Well, we've got a copy of Rachel Cruz's book for you, Know Yourself, Know Your Money, her latest New York Times bestseller, as a gift. Thank you for coming all the way to Nashville to do your debt-free scream. We're proud of you.
And I would like to throw in one thing in there.
Okay.
During that time, we probably would have paid off a little bit faster, but during that time, we did switch to, I quit my job, so we had 2 incomes and went down to 1 income, which it did stay the same because he made more. But I did get to stay at home with our son during that, and I finished my bachelor's degree during all of that.
Congratulations.
Good for you. What's your degree in?
Organizational leadership.
Oh, very good. Good for you. Well done, you guys. Again, proud of you. That's quite an accomplishment.
Thank you.
All of that done in 3 years. All right, it's Tyler and Haley from the Chattanooga, Ringgold, Georgia area. $63,000 paid off in 3 years, making $50,000. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3,
2, 1.
We're debt-free!
That's how it's done. Wow. Very well done, you guys. Our question of the day comes from Blinds.com. They have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Means even if you mismeasure or you pick the wrong color, they'll remake your blinds for free. You get free samples, free shipping, new promos all the time. Always use the promo code Ramsey.
Today's question comes from John in Texas. Should I sacrifice time with my kids in order to get a second job? As bad as I want to be out of debt, I do not want to miss my kids' activities to do so. I want to answer this as you. Are you ready?
Okay.
Wah. Is that what you would say? Would you say boo-hoo, get a second job? Here's the thing. It's temporary, right? Like, it's temporary sacrifice for long-term reward. Take the second job. You're not missing everything. You just might miss more than you want to in this season to get out of debt. Was I right or wrong?
You're right. The vast majority of the folks that get gazelle intense and they cut everything out of their budget and they're not going out to eat and they're not going on vacation and they're on beans and rice and beans, most of them are out of debt in 18 to 24 months. If you miss kids' activities for 18 to 24 months, you are not going to change your life or the kids' lives. You're really not.
Yeah.
All you have to do is think about a military family where one of the spouses is deployed for 6 months to a year, and they're overseas somewhere, keeping America free. Their children do not die from that. They make it through. It is an emotional thing, and I missed some games, but I missed some games when I was starting this business so that I never had to miss a game again. And you can pick and choose what you want to do.
Yeah.
But a lot of the kids' activities and stuff, the kids don't even remember them.
Yeah.
Much less remember, Dad missed all my games. When you were 4, your 4-year-old soccer league, really?
Yeah.
They don't even remember.
Yeah.
They don't even remember to kick the ball at the goal.
They're picking flowers.
So, they're out there wandering around singing nursery rhymes. It's just, hey, Papa Dave goes to the games. I see this stuff. I see what's going on.
I know.
It's sweet that we can go there and be there, and you can pick and choose an important item.
Right.
It's worth the sacrifice for a short period of time. Would I do that as a way of life for a decade? Not if I could help it. I would make some other changes. But I think for a short period of time, you knock it out. This is The Ramsey Show. scripture of the day, John 14:27. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid. Jesus' words. Sarah Blakely says, don't be intimidated by what you don't know. That can be your greatest strength and will ensure that you do things differently from everyone else. Sarah Blakely being one of the youngest female billionaires in U.S. history, she invented Spanx.
Yes, she did.
And owns the company and spoke at our Entree Leadership Summit a couple of years ago.
Yep.
Pretty impressive, very impressive young woman.
You know what? We shared her story at Business Boutique last year about how when she was a child growing up around the dinner table, her dad would ask the family how they had failed that day, and they would celebrate that because he reframed failure as if you're failing, you're out there doing stuff, you're trying stuff. And so we did that in the room. I had all the women line up, and we had a mic in the middle of the room, and come tell me when you failed or made a mistake, and everyone in the room cheered. And it just reframed for you that it's okay if you mess up because you're actually out there trying stuff. Most people stay stuck on the couch. They're so scared to make a mistake that they don't do anything.
Which, by the way, is a mistake.
Right. Failure is a step. What's your quote? Success is just a big pile of failures you're standing on instead of under.
Yeah.
It's a stepping stone on the way to success. You can't succeed unless you fail along the way. So I loved that example of how her dad reframed that for her. And she was willing to fail, because she was like, I'm going to try some stuff to get to where I want to be. And she sure did.
John Maxwell did a book a few years ago called Failing Forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the only way you move forward. It's just... The trick is, what we're all afraid of is not failure. We're afraid of fatal failure. And so, we're not suggesting you be rash or gambling or crazy or something like that. So you pick your fight. You pick where you're going. But if a lot of the stuff we're scared of is more emotional than it is actual.
For sure. Absolutely. But that keeps people stuck.
What's the worst that can happen here? And if you'll get that out and it's not death,
right?
And it's not, bankruptcy, so you don't try something that we don't want you to set you up to where you try things that cause you to file bankruptcy. That's not, or to die or something like that. That's not what we want to do. But this idea that you can do things without messing up is impossible. No one can do that.
Well, even those fears of failure, even the little ones keep people stuck. I hear women say all the time, well, what if I launch a blog and no one comes? What if I put this product out there and no one likes it? What if I try this thing and it doesn't work? I'm like, okay, but that's enough to keep them stuck. What will people think of me on Facebook? What if she doesn't like? It's like you've got to be willing to withstand that, those criticisms or rejection or mistakes or failures or whatever, as a part of the journey of learning and growing and trying more stuff. Because it's amazing to me sometimes those small things that you're saying are enough to keep people stuck.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Not what if I do this and they don't like it. Let me just tell you, if you do it, somebody's not going to like it.
Yeah, just go ahead and accept it. You're going to get a parrot you don't know what to do with. Let's go ahead and accept it on the front end and move forward anyway, instead of fearing the possibilities.
Yeah.
Like, no, just know that it will happen.
It's like, we put these books on Amazon and then people rate them. And so I don't know what Total Money Makeover's got, how many ratings on the thing. Let me pull it up and look at it. It's hilarious. So it's got what is this thing? A 4.75 star rating. So that's pretty close to 5, right? Right. Let's see here. 20,000 people have rated the book, and it's rated 4.75 stars. Okay. So by definition, if you do an entry that's a 1 star today, having read that documentation there, you're what's known as wrong.
I love this example when you share that. It's so true.
So it's just like,
it's so true.
20,000 people disagreed with you on average, which means you're wrong.
Right.
So why do people enter that? But I can assure you that in the last 3 weeks, I don't go back and look at them. It's just, I pull it up occasionally just because I think it's an interesting study on what drives people. I'm also interested in a weird, sick kind of a way as to why someone thinks I care what they thought after 20,000 people have already posted. I appreciate you posting. Thank you for that. But it's just like, Truthfully, like, I'm not going to sell the book anymore because you're pissed.
Right.
Come on. You kidding me? Really?
Yeah.
So, what drives this culture of people nowadays? I don't grasp it. Like, I'm not going to stop. So we're not going to stop. But here's the thing. If you put it out there, and that book sold 8 million copies, and you've sold hundreds of thousands of copies of books, you put it out there, and you've helped tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people with their businesses, with Business Boutique, and then somebody puts up a 1-star, you can count on 100% chance that somebody is not going to like your art.
Right.
But ship it anyway.
Right. I'm not their style. One of the things that stuck out to me, this was years ago. It was my very first Entree Leadership event, and I spoke, and I watched the surveys afterwards because it was my first event on this stage. And of course, 98, 99% were positive, and there was a 1-star review.
Yeah, you got one of the highest ratings in the whole thing.
They didn't, yeah. What did I focus on? I focused on the 1-star review.
Critics math.
Yes. So one of the things
98% times 1% equals 0.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the thing that stuck out to me is I had to remind myself to put myself back on the stage, to put another book out there, to continue to put yourself out there, is I'm not fighting for them. I'm not fighting for the 1-star. I'm not fighting for the 1-star review, the bad survey. I'm fighting for the 99% that did get it, that I helped, that made a difference in their how they manage their time, how they manage their business, whatever. I'm fighting for them. So I'm going to continue to walk on the stage, put the products out there, and fight for the people that I exist to serve, and be willing to understand 1 or 2 or 3% may not get it, and that's okay. I'm not fighting for them. It wasn't ever for them.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And, the point is, let's see. Oh, I hate everything Dave Ramsey stands for. Blah, 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 blah. Well, you never bought any of our stuff anyway. So,
right. When people are mean on social media, I'm like, I'll give you a refund.
You're writing a blog from your mother's basement. I mean, really. I mean, I'm sorry, I missed the part where you get a vote. So this is the thing, and that's what Sarah's talking about there. And it's not to be mean or sarcastic or something like that, or uncaring or unwilling to accept input.
Right.
That's not the other. Certainly we adjust our products, we adjust our delivery.
Speaking. Yeah.
I mean, if we crack a joke on stage and it doesn't work, we don't use that joke again.
Note to self, crickets.
We just took feedback. There's crickets there. Crickets. And so,
Been there.
there's things you're gonna adjust things, and you're always gonna iterate up. But here's the thing. Hear what Christy's saying very loudly. If you are not doing something because you think someone won't like it, let me help you. Someone won't like it. Do it anyway.
That's right. That's right. You're not fighting for them. Think of the ones you're fighting for, that your product is for, that your speech is for, that your business is for. They need you.
Do it anyway.
Yeah.
Do it anyway. And then you celebrate your failures.
Mm-hmm.
Because along the way, about 90% of your great ideas that you have in the morning while you're going for a run, you're in the shower, you're doing whatever, and you have these great entrepreneurial ideas, about 90% of your ideas suck. We have survived 90% of my ideas over 30 years here. And 90% of our other team members' ideas, too. We made all of our money.
Me included.
We've made all of our money, made all of our brand impact, helped all the millions of people we've helped off about 10% of our ideas.
Yeah.
But all of them sound great when you have them.
Sure.
So ship it,
That's
as our friend Seth Godin says. Ship it. Put it out there. Put yourself out there. Try it. Do something different. And if you don't do something different, you're not going to get a different result. Try something new. I mean, this whole get out of debt thing. Go get yourself out of debt. If you hate it, you can get back in.
That's right. Oh, I miss those payments.
You can get back in. You can get right back in. If you feel like you goofed up and
I miss those bills.
There was a stupid thing going around on some of the internet. This guy, I'm a 29-year-old millionaire, and the worst thing I ever did is pay off my house. Well, then go get a mortgage.
Yeah.
Why get an article about it? Just go get a mortgage if you're so dadgum brilliant. That's just ridiculous, So, yeah, you can undo most things. Well, that puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. We will be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there is ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus. Have Have a friend or family member that needs a daily dose of Ramsey advice in their life? Let them know about the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast. It's a quick hit of advice about life and money in under 10 minutes. Check out the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast wherever you listen to podcasts.